going to show you any slaughterhouse videos, but what happens to them is not good. And so eating.
I just want to mention what she's talking about is our slogan for people, animals, and our planet. That is the slogan for our nonprofit, and there are these 3 dimensions to the plant-based lifestyle. It's going to benefit you, people. It's going to benefit animals because no animals get harmed because we're not even using any animal products anymore, and then it's going to help the planet or the environment.
Exactly. So people, when you tell them that you're plant-based or even vegetarian, one of the questions that we often get still, I think it's a joke half the time now, where do you get your protein? Well, protein deficiencies are really uncommon in America, even among vegetarians, so it's not even an issue.
And actually, if you know a lot about plants, you're aware that all plants contain protein.
Every living cell.
What's that?
Every living cell.
Yeah, that's right, yes. And that's where the animals get it from too, by eating the plants, right? That's where they get their protein from. And you're not going to need to supplement protein as long as you're eating a correct plant-based diet. So just recognize that. There are protein, something you probably heard of, protein bars, protein powder, right? You don't need those unless you are an extreme athlete, basically. And as long as you're eating a well-balanced plant-based diet, you don't need it.
Right. If you read the book Whole, but which doctor wrote it?
That's Dr. T. Colin Campbell.
Yeah. T. Colin Campbell came to some of our veg fests too. I got to meet him.
Yeah, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, he wrote Whole that Denise just mentioned. He also wrote the book, The China Study, that we talked about earlier. He will be our keynote speaker at our biggest event, which is Southwest Florida Veg Fest. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. That's the one we've been doing for the longest time. And I was talking with Paul before. It used to be in downtown Bonita Springs, if you guys have been there, but we're moving it to Farmer Mike's. It's going to be on a plants-only farm. We're trying to start a whole new concept. Like I said, you'll be able to see Dr. T. Colin Campbell there. He'll be on our video wall doing a live presentation, and he'll be doing some question and answer stuff after as well. So just, he's like 84 years young, something like that. He doesn't travel anymore. 85, yeah.
So that was a quote that I found in Discover magazine. It was written by a dietitian. She said that meat is not essential to the human diet. And you don't even need to supplement with those powders or anything, because as you'll read in Dr. Campbell's book, Whole, that taking supplements and especially getting too much of something that you don't even need can actually cause cancer. So we don't recommend supplements. The only supplement that we recommend is B12. That's the only thing that you should be taking, unless you have a diagnosis that says you should be supplementing with something else. So yeah, those were quotes from Discover magazine. And the last part of our slogan for people, animals, and our planet is our planet. And there's nothing better you can do for the planet that will make a greater impact on your carbon footprint than it is to actually go plant-based. So some of the worst impacts of climate change can be irreversible by 2030. I just recently heard this at a climate conference. This has been repeated. And some of the warmest years on record have been over the past 22 years. So this is a clip of the Amazon rainforest. It's also being destroyed, just not only to make graze land, but to grow crops just to feed to the animals.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Denise said, because it's taken a while for that to sink in with me. Like, we drive an electric car, okay? Because we're concerned about, the environment. Of course, it doesn't leak any oil, or there's no gas to spill. There's no emissions coming out of the tailpipes, and nobody gets harmed nearby, whatever. But that only solves a fraction of the environmental problems. The absolute biggest factor, by far, that will do more than anything you can do is simply stop buying, eating, using animal products. Just get rid of them. No one needs them anymore, and that has an exponentially greater positive impact on the environment. Nothing else even comes close. And like I said, I drive an electric car, okay? But it does nothing anywhere near as much positive benefit as just not using animal products.
Yeah, the oceans are being fished out. all of these crops that are planted to feed the animals, and they put glyphosate on it, and that gets into our water supply, and none of the farmland where like the slaughterhouses are, and none of that waste, none of the waste products are actually controlled in any way that's good for the environment. This stuff just runs off into our water supply. So you can see how it's very multifaceted. It's more than just not eating meat. So this is a little clip that I saw from PETA. We wouldn't be in this pandemic, we wouldn't be in this problem that we're having right now if people would just stop eating animals. I'm sure you're aware that Ebola virus came from a bat, and mad cow disease came from cows, bird flu from chickens, SARS, the swine flu, and here we are with COVID-19, still feeling the effects of that.
Yeah, so it's a zoonotic disease, and we're not saying it would be completely eliminated, but the chances of it happening, the way it's happened, would be so incredibly small. But this is why we're doing this with the plant-based diet.org nonprofit. We believe that people are going to understand this as time goes on. It's going to be necessary. People are going to want to help as much as possible, and the way to do it is by eating plant-based.
Right. I hope you don't have another pandemic like COVID. We're doing whatever we can to try to convince people to stop eating animals to reduce that risk. So this is our website of plantbaseddiet.org, and you can hit any of the drop downs there and find healthy prepared food recipes. And not prepared food, you can find prepared food.
Yeah, there's
like some of the vendors that we recommend, we're not saying you have to go to any of these suppliers, but Mama Says and go ahead.
Yeah, Plant Pure, Engine 2, Mama Says are here. The prepared food is for people that don't like to cook, and we don't really cook much. Okay, so if you don't like to cook, we get it. So we want to tell you the best thing that for you as a human that you can get this prepared, and that's why we have that resource right there, healthy prepared foods that you find on the website. If you like to cook, we've got the healthy recipes there, and the recipes are all no cost. We have like I think 8 to 10 different links that go off our site to folks that make plant-based food in the way that optimizes your health. Not everyone does. It's fairly complex, but that's why we put as a resource here the ones that we will stand behind and recommend and suggest that if you want to cook, that's where you want to find it. You don't need to buy any cookbooks. You don't need to do anything. Just go to the website.
Yep, exactly. Under healthy recipes, you'll find a macaroni and cheese recipe that I shared. It doesn't add any oil, and it's so fabulous. We eat it at least once a week. I'm a big fan. Next slide. Go ahead. You can talk about your healthy food certification.
Yeah, I was talking to some folks before our little event here tonight, and some folks that went to the Naples Veg Fest, and when you really start to dive into the plant-based lifestyle, you start to realize that even most of the plant-based foods are not optimal for human health. Okay, they are better than eating animal products. Let me make sure I convey that to you. However, they're not optimal. So what we wanted to do was, as a nonprofit, encourage people to eat the best health optimizing foods we can. So we developed this. This is a certified, healthy vegan food is what we call it. We actually have a trademark on that because not all vegan food is good for you. Vegan just simply telling you there's no animal products in it, okay? Most food is less than optimal, but this is going to be a huge step in the right direction. So, if you're one of the people that says, well, where do I get the healthy food from? Where do I get it? Even if I go to your events, it's not there. We need your help. That's the bottom line. Now, to get to this page on the website, which is what you're going to need to know if you want to help us, you can use healthyveganfood.info. Do you see up there? It's called, help. Well, it's on our plantbaseddiet.org, our site. But if you want it, and you can find it on there, the maze of information we have on there, or you can just put in your notes on your phone or something, healthyveganfood.info. It takes you straight here. You'll go right there. And basically, you want to tell any place you buy food from, grocery store, restaurant, food vendor, at our events, whoever, that they can obtain this, and they can put it on their dish. It's going to be on a dish that's on their regular menu, so you don't have to ask a million questions when you go out. And if you've been eating healthy, you know that you probably have to ask a million questions when you go out because it's less than optimal. This will tell you that the food is going to be at the highest level, at least that they're offering at their establishment. And what does it mean? It means it's got, actually, you've got the, his laser pointer thing is cool. Okay, it's got these 5 stipulations. They have to agree to this, on each dish. Number 1 is, it's got to have actual whole plant fiber, because so many plant-based foods, believe it or not, like the plant-based ice creams, cheeses, other things, they don't have any fiber in them. I don't know if you realize this or not. Fiber, as we talked about earlier, is what optimizes your gut health, which optimizes your brain health, and actually everything else in your body. And you need real fiber, not a pill, real fiber. So it's got to have real fiber in it. It's got to have 0 animal products, of course, because we don't deal with animal products in our organization. It has to have 0 added oil. Are you guys familiar with oil and what it does to the body? Raise hands. I just want to know who is enlightened. Okay, oil is one of, it's kind of like if you're eating plant-based and you want to have like that feel of animal product foods, you want to have a more substantial feel. You don't want it to be like rabbit food, right? So what do? They usually put oil in it, which works. Some of this stuff is amazingly realistic, right? Unfortunately, it's terrible for your health. It's one of the worst things you can consume. It's just as bad and sometimes even worse than animal products because it's 100% fat. Like even if you're talking about olive oil, let's say for instance, it has some of the benefits of the olive, but it's so highly processed, it's not natural. They have to extract all the fiber. All the fiber is taken out of the olive. Almost all the nutrition. There's some of it left, but what's left is really 100% fat. And all it does is clog your insides. You would never pour like grease down your drain, but basically if you eat anything with oil in it, that's what you're eating. I just want to let you know. So we say no added oil, no added salt or sodium, because most people get way too much sodium in their diet. The upper limit of what every human should get is about 1,500 milligrams. Almost all doctors agree on this. Unfortunately, if you go out to a restaurant and eat a meal, you're probably getting that much or more in one meal. Okay, so we say no added salt, but you can always add it later with a shaker. But if it's cooked in salt, you can't take it out. So we're not going to certify anything about that. And then 0 alcohol. I don't know if you guys know, I'm not going to get into this much, but alcohol is a group 1 carcinogen. It's a known highest level cancer causer. If you want to know why everyone's getting cancer, this is one of the reasons. And that's why we're not going to certify any food that has any alcohol in it. And actually kombucha, you guys familiar with kombucha? It's considered a health food, but it has a little bit of alcohol in it. So we will not certify it as a health food either. And also, if you think about having plant fiber, just another example, juices generally have no fiber in them. All the fiber is removed. Okay, so we're not going to certify a juice unless it's got some fiber in there. So it's these 5 things. Oh yeah, question?
No, I just wanted, and then, did you guys know about the Spice Club event happening this weekend?
Yeah, that's our event actually.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah. We're glad to bring it back. So yeah, and actually, yeah, they are just about Spice Club. Like we have refined this as time has gone on. Like as more people have got into the plant-based movement, there's more options. So initially, this certification a few years ago was just no added oil. And that's just with that event, it's no added oil. But we realized that so many plant-based foods were coming out that were less than optimal, and that were kind of meeting our definition. And we're like, well, we want this to be really a higher level. So we've added all these other stipulations to it, and that's been recent. So it's for the restaurants and food entities, it's $25 a year, and we market them. We market their stuff, like this event you know about, right? We're driving people to their establishment because we want people to eat the healthiest food possible, and it's actually really, really good. I'm sure. Have you been there before? Actually,
I have not been yet.
Okay, you'll have an amazing surprise. Okay, I will tell you. So people have really asked us to bring that one back. So, all right. And then this is me and Dr. Borja. He has helped us to basically develop this certification. Okay, he's our director of lifestyle medicine for the plantbaseddiet.org nonprofit. So that's where if you're wondering where did we get the stuff from, I mean it's not perfect, but it's more like a mid-level certification, and it's so high though that almost no one offers anything like this right now. But we do want your help. Like I said, tell your restaurants, healthyveganfood.info, go there. And when they go there and they say, well, why are you telling me no added oil? Because I gave a little explanation, okay, but it was very short. You want the full explanation of why you know no oil? Scroll down on that same thing, healthyveganfood.info. You scroll down to see 2 video links right there. Denise mentioned this guy earlier, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. You guys familiar with Dr. Esselstyn? Okay, he'll tell you that when you go to a restaurant, he says this in the videos, tell them that you are deathly allergic to oil. You can't have one single drop of oil in your food, or you're gonna have to go to the hospital. that's what he says you tell him, because he's a cardiologist, and he has had his patients recover from heart disease, and he knows how to do it. And each of these videos is I think over 2 hours long. We were on a cruise where he was. I was sitting in the front row, and I'm like, I'm going to record this. It's his talk. What is this talk called? How to become heart attack proof. That's what his talk is. And he goes through the science of all of this. And his number one thing is never consume a drop of oil. Okay. And if you want to know why, like I said, go to healthyveganfood.info, scroll down. You can watch these. You can probably make a whole day of it. So they're each a couple hours long, but it's well worth it if you want to know why. One of the science behind it. And then now we get into the events.
Sure. Yeah, that oil destroys your endothelium.
That's it. Yeah. Should win surprise.
I have a brother who's 40 years old, just had a heart attack. I can't get him to listen to me.
Well, show me those videos.
I've tried everything.
Yeah. I know how it is.
He might change his ways now.
Yeah.
This was just like a month ago he had a heart attack.
Yeah, well, show them the videos. Yeah, those videos. I mean, everything's in it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting fun fact about Dr. Borja. He actually studied cancer genetics at the University of Texas Southwestern. He specialized in genetics because back then, when he was choosing his major, he thought that cancer was genetic. And he's since given up on all of this, and he's educating people on how to change their diets. So I thought that was really inspirational.
What Denise just mentioned, how Dr. Borja took a myth of something being genetic to something being lifestyle. Okay, that's a theme in everything that we do. We're realizing that the things that are actually truly genetic are such a small fraction of what's happening to people. Not to say that it doesn't exist, because we know that it does. But the vast majority, again, like we're going back to, like, what's the biggest thing you can do, to help the environment? Well, let's get rid of the animal products like we talked about. What's the biggest thing you can do for, to prevent you from getting into a disease state and being medicated for the rest of your life? Is optimize your health. And don't think it's genetics, because I will tell you what genetics is, because I was raised in it. I was not raised this way, okay, right? I was raised by my parents who were doing the best that they could, but they taught me a lot of the wrong things. And that's what I learned, was a bunch of habits that were transmitted down from one generation to the next. That's not genetic. You may think it's genetic. Okay, I did it. I think originally I was like, I'm going to get this and that because my dad has this and that. But no, it's just because he learned all that from his brothers and sisters and parents, and he was trying to teach me. And nobody knew any different. So much of this information is very new in terms of just the awakening and the internet being available. And we do all this video content, YouTube. We just try to get it out so that it seems normal, because it should be normal.
Yeah. Another interesting third thing that I heard from Dr. Borja in one of his presentations, he went to a wellness center where people were getting treatments from various illnesses, and he looked at what was in the IVs, and it was basically vitamins that they could have gotten by eating plants. But, moving on, some of our vegan events. If you go to our website, we have a couple of different ones. You can go to plantbaseddiet.org, but you can also go to veganevents.info, and there's another one.
Yeah, that's on Facebook, if you use Facebook.
Yeah, that takes you to our Facebook page, but you have a URL that you have that is plantbasedevents.info, is that also?
Yeah, plant-based events or veganevents.info will take you to our chronological calendar on Facebook. Everything's in order for you. Our website has, you can find the Veg Fest and some of the other events that we have, or you can go to Eventbrite if you're, we have those three options to find out what we do for you guys.
Okay. This was an event that we did at Farmer Mike's We Pick just last year.
You guys know where Farmer Mike's is?
No.
Okay, well, let me explain that. Okay, well, Farmer Mike has been a vendor at our South of Florida Veg Fest, our biggest event for many years. And I've been talking with him, and we are moving our event there this year. It's in Bonita Springs, right in the middle of Bonita Springs. It's right off 75. And actually, he's going to be moving his location to a more visible location. And if you drive north up 75 from here, and you pass through Benita Springs, and right after you pass through it, if you look to the right, you'll see this tractor trailer. It's just a trailer out there. It's not no tractor, no engine in the front, but just a trailer just parked out there, and it has this big banner that says Farmer Mike's. That's where his new facility is going to be. And we are planning quite a few events there because that's where the food is grown. We want people to go to where the food is being grown, understand where your food's coming from, and participate in that, rather than there being a disconnect. We think that a lot of the reason why we are all in this predicament as humans right now is the disconnect between where the food is originating and how it gets to you. Yes, your question?
Is his farm organic or no?
It is not organic, but organic is as I'm learning, like I said, I don't think I know everything. I'm learning more. Organic is a gray area. You want to do the best that you can. I would highly recommend going to his website. He has a tab on the farming methods that they use. If you search him up, Farmer Mike's, Bonita Springs. And anyway, we have one of our, Dr. Will Tuttle. Anybody know who Dr. Will Tuttle is? You may know if you went to Naples Veg Fest. Okay, he's been in this movement for a long time, 40 plus years. He told us, just so you know, because I asked this question too, and Dr. Tuttle called me last week, because he's going to be at our next Plants at Table at Farmer Mike's. He's going to be like a guest of honor. You're going to get to eat dinner with him. He asked me, he's like, Mike, is this stuff organic? And I'm like, well, I don't think so, because I've talked to Farmer Mike's what? He's like, well, I can't go there. I can't eat the food. I'm going to have to eat separate food, different meal than you guys. I'm like, that's not going to work at all, And he's like, well, sorry, I can't compromise this, because I know enough. I know too much, Like, as you get in this plant-based movement, you learn more and more things. I'm like, okay, I got to talk to Farmer Mike. And I talked to Paul about it too. And anyway, I showed him what was on Farmer Mike's website. That's why I highly recommend you go there. And he looked at it, Dr. Tuttle looked at it. He's like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me. And he's like, and I said, well, Dr. Tuttle, well, still, before you commit to this, before we know you're going to be here, when you come down to Florida, because he's going to be here in Florida very soon. He spends a lot of the winter in Florida. Let's get a tour with Farmer Mike, and he's going to ask all the hard questions, which I'm sure you would ask as well, because you're already asking about organic and go, right? And anyway, we're going to make sure that Dr. Tuttle knows exactly what's going on, and that we're all on the same page with this, because we do not want to harm the environment, we do not want to harm ourselves, right? That's what organic is all about. But it's more of a gray area these days, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't, but we can talk and learn more about that as time goes on.
Yeah, you'll see for Farmer Mike's in another slide. So that was just an aerial shot in the same event that we did last year.
You guys interview there for that Farmer Joe's opening in Cape Coral?
I've seen it, yeah.
I'm really stoked about that.
Yeah. It's a new business. Yeah.
Well, let's check it out. So this was a different Plants to Table event that we did last year in North Carolina at First Fruits Farm.
Yeah, actually, since you got the picture up. This, in the center, this is our big outdoor video wall. If you guys have ever been to our events, or if you've not, the outdoor events, most of our festivals, all of our festivals are completely outdoors, okay? We think that that's the future of events. But we want to bring the physicians, the doctors, right, the experts to you to talk to you about these events. And most of them won't do events unless they can see their PowerPoints, like you're watching our PowerPoint. But see, we gotta have the light dimmed here, right? Otherwise, even if I turn the lights on, you can't see it, even indoors, right? You can imagine what it's like outdoors. You can't see anything. So, well, with this technology we have, we bring it to every event. You can see everything clearly. Dr. Greger came to our event. He told me, Dr. Greger initially, that he would not do any outdoor events. I said, well, Dr. Greger, we have this video wall. And I showed him a video, or maybe a picture too, and I said, look, you can see PowerPoint. We have physicians at our events. He's like, okay, and he did. He was there. One of our last events before the pandemic was March of 2020. He was in Punta Gorda at our Charlotte County Veg Fest, and it was a great experience. And he said he'd never done an outdoor event before, but I'm just telling you, we bring this because we want people to show up. We view ourselves as educational, and we have to be able to transmit that to people. So we have to have the right tools, and that's one of those tools we have.
Yep. All right. That was Miami Veg Fest that we did in February 2019. Not sure if we're going to do that one again, but there's Dr. Greger from Charlotte County Veg Fest last year.
But 2020. But actually, it was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, that was a fun event. A lot of people showed up just for his talk. We did Fort Myers Veg Fest, earlier this year at the Bell Tower Shops. We'll be going again.
Yeah, you guys know where the Bell Tower Shops is? Right? Okay, you know that's an upscale outdoor shopping center, all right? And they actually reached out to us because they had been seeing what we have been doing. We were doing a Fort Myers event. We did it actually at Florida Southwestern University. But they actually approached us and said, would you have your festival at our shopping center? You know, and we did. We had it in January, and we're already planning for it again this January. And that's going to be Fort Myers Veg Fest. I think it's the second Sunday in January at Bell Tower Shops. They want us back. So we're really fortunate, and you know, they saw the big screen. Can you see it in that picture? I don't think you can see it in that picture. But the big screen's in the middle of the mall there, and you know, we're in front of a captive audience. We're explaining the benefits of the plant-based lifestyle to people just walking by who are shopping that day, you know, in this shopping plaza. So it's not just a small group of people. We really want to reach everyone, like I said, and then we have to be able to, you know, have the tools and have the opportunities that we are getting. And I think it's awesome. I never would have thought we'd be at a Bell Tower Shops, you know, doing a plant-based festival.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have a veg fest in Naples?
Yeah, we just had one
We just
last
did.
Sunday.
Last Sunday?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was at Sugden Park.
And we're already planning again for next November. So get on our email list if you want to find out about it. You will hear about it.
I got one.
Yes, okay.
Great. There was a picture from the Charlotte County Veg Fest just this past February, but we didn't have Dr. Greger because he's writing another book
That's right.
about pandemics, how not to die of a pandemic. But once he's done with that, maybe he'll come visit us again at a Veg Fest. There's the Ocala Veg Fest that we'll have another one of those next year. Mike was talking about Dr. Campbell. So he'll be presenting virtually at some of our upcoming events.
Yeah, the local one, the Southwest Florida Veg Fest, that is Sunday, February 13th at Farmer Mike's. It's on our calendar. And I also want to show you, let me show you with the pointer. That's the trailer right there. That's where we tow all this equipment for our events in this trailer. If you guys have ever seen it, you were in Naples Veg Fest, saw it, and I pull it. Actually, where is it? You can't see the car, but I actually pull it with my electric car, with our electric car. It's a challenge because electric cars are kind of new. A lot of people see it and they start taking pictures like, I didn't know you could tow with an electric car. But look, we got a double axle trailer. We're pulling like 5,000 pounds up and down the interstates, basically. You know, because that's in Ocala. It's not around the corner.
Yeah, Cybertruck.
Yeah, I need to get one. Yeah.
Yeah, that might have a little more range.
Yeah, the range is the issue. That's what
Yeah. So to find our upcoming events, you can go to veganevents.info. So,
Or plant-based events, I think. Either one page.
yeah, there were some Indian dinners that happened a while back, but it's more up to date now. These are some of the cities that we've done Veg Fest in. Some are upcoming, quite a few.
Most of them are in Florida.
Yeah,
It's our biggest area, and most of them are in Southwest Florida.
Yeah. So that was our slide from the Naples Veg Fest that happened last Sunday.
You have one in Raleigh?
We
Yeah.
did.
Yes, so you know people in Raleigh?
That's where my 40-year-old brother lives.
Okay, well, I wish I knew, because we just did that in, what was it? Late October, it was a Halloween day, actually, the 31st of October. We were in, if you know Raleigh, downtown Moore Square, right in the center downtown. We rented the whole park, and we had all kinds of people going by. We had the video wall out there. We had actually Dr. Bernard from PCRM doing a virtual presentation there, and it was better than we thought it was going to be. It was.
It's a beautiful area too.
Yeah.
A
So
lot of support for this kind of stuff around here.
yes, and our biggest area is, as I mentioned, Southwest Florida is our biggest area by far. All right, but Raleigh is a close second. In that area, we have 2 events every year over there, and then the DC area, we're also there as well. And we've got a lot of different connections through the people that we know in these areas that benefit all of the events, really.
Yeah. At the Raleigh Veg Fest 3, the food trucks ran out of food. So, you know, it was a good event.